best decision you've ever made, and it allows you to live a brand new life on your terms, work the days and hours and times, and create a lifestyle that ultimately makes you happy. And that's what the Academy's about. Welcome to another episode of the High Performance PT Academy podcast, and I am your host, Tony Pang. And guys, we are here with another fantastic guest. We're coming at it from a different angle than we would normally, so I'm pretty excited about how we're going to transition from talking to PTs that have been in the industry for a long time to now taking it one step further from somebody that was maybe had the idea of becoming a PT and how that transitioned into reality and what that journey has ultimately looked like. So guys, I want to welcome Adib onto the podcast. How are we, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me. Cheers.
So it's an exciting story, and I'm super excited to talk about it and how things transpired. There's been a lot going on. So basically, let's start from the beginning, Adib. So before you came on the Body Academy, give me a wee bit of history about your training experience and that before.
So I think I started training, must have been about 15 years ago. It's actually at Fitness First in Govanhill.
Yeah, that's where I started as well.
Yeah, so that was when I first met you actually. And I said to myself, yeah, that's what I want to look. I want to look like that guy. So I actually you might not remember, but I actually approached you in Fitness First, and I said, look, I want to get some PT sessions in. It was me and one of my mates, and you said, cool, and we'd set it up and we'd scheduled it. And before we got into it shut down, the gym shut down.
Yeah.
And that was it. I didn't think about approaching anybody else ever again, because I was like, I just want to look like Tony Pang.
Right, okay.
So I just went my own way. And I kind of followed you in the background for years after that, like your YouTube and stuff, and just kind of doing my own thing here and there. I was studying to be an engineer at the same time, so a lot of my time was taken away kind of focusing on that stuff. So it was only ever a part-time kind of on and off type thing, training for the next 10 years. And then it got to the point, the end of last year, where I ruptured my Achilles playing football. So that I couldn't train for like 3 months, and it hit me hard, because at that point I realised how much I love training, because I can't do it anymore. You don't realise how much you love it till you can't do it.
You can't do it anymore, 100%.
So I was lying in the hospital after my surgery, it just hit me like how much I love, like training is just everything for me. Like, I can't do it, and it's killing me that I can't do it. So I thought, like, it started making me question my career choices about engineering. There's nothing, engineering is a great job, like there's no doubt about it, but it's not so much about the money, it's just the passion for me now. I'm at an age where passion trumps money kind of thing. So I was lying in hospital thinking, right, I'm getting older, if I'm going to do something, it's going to happen now. So the only person I've ever wanted to train with is Tony, so I'm just going to message him when I get out, and I'm just going to go at this 100% and see what happens. And that was how it started. I didn't know where it was going to go, what it was going to look like. I just knew I was going to try.
Yeah. And so from there, because I do remember back then, because it was funny in Fitness First, I felt like in Govanhill it was very community driven.
Yeah.
Like it was always the same faces, it was always the same people, everyone trained at the same times and all that type of stuff. So everyone kind of knew everyone. And so from there, obviously, I think COVID and lockdown probably highlighted a lot of things to people about what they missed and what they had and what they didn't have until it was stripped and taken away from you and you were back to basics. And probably for a lot of people that hit them quite hard. And so same as you with the injury and having that taken away and going from something, being injured, being in hospital, reflecting and reviewing. So was the idea at that point, so obviously studying as an engineer, good career, it was now thinking about passion and future and going forward. So was there ever that glimpse of an idea to go into personal training, or was it just an idea? Was it a thought? Like,
there was always a thought for personal training for years and years, but it just never seemed feasible, largely financially, just because trying to jump between a job that's already well paying to then trying to build up your own personal business, it just didn't seem financially feasible at the time. But then obviously all this online coaching started after COVID, and there was a way to potentially do a kind of engineering and then online coaching at the side and let that build up. So there's a bit of a transition, a bit of an easier transition. So when that came about, I thought there could actually be an opportunity here for me to make this move. And that's kind of where I got, I guess, the the courage, I guess, to try and make that decision. And that's when I went to yourself and I messaged you on Instagram, said, look, I want to be a PT or an online coach. And that's when I noticed you had the PT Academy as well, which is what I seen first when I came to you. And then you said to me about, well, walk the walk, you want to be in the best condition. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. That's 100% what I want to do as well. So then that's when I joined the Body Academy, essentially.
And it's funny, Eddie, because you said the online coaching, it was a thing, like after COVID.
Yeah.
And in my experience, so obviously I started doing PT in Govan Hill, that was 2007.
Yeah.
I then was competing myself. So I then had I had several online coaches from all the way back then. And so online coaching for me was a thing, but it wasn't a huge thing. And it was in 2010 that I decided, you know what, I've had a lot of online coaches. I've saw a lot of success from that. I had a lot of people that said, Tony, I've saw you compete. I would love to compete. And I thought, you know what, I could probably do this online coaching. And I'd been doing that since 2010.
Yeah.
So it's funny that, what was COVID, 2020?
2020, yeah.
2020, like 10 years later, that it was now became a thing because you either evolved and adapted as a PT and you moved online, or you didn't, or you done another job.
Yeah.
So it's funny how you said it's just came alive, but for me, it had been alive for 10 years before that. Just not a lot of people had done it. And the only people I knew done online coaching was coaches that done shows. That was it.
Yeah.
Coaches that done competition prep. And because it was a very small market and small niche. When you competed, you were looking for another coach who competed or all that thing. And I think that competitions weren't as big as they are now. Back when I done it as well, like when I got into competing, I done the first show in Scotland, I remember, and it took another 3 years even after that for it to become bigger. So that shows how long, and it's funny when I look back at that and listen to you say that. But for me, it was always a thing. It just wasn't as big a thing as it was now.
Yeah.
But exactly what you said is having an avenue where you can have the knowledge, you can have the experience, you can help anybody anywhere in the world. Social media and the internet has opened up the doors where you can help anybody in the world who is either inspired by you, motivated by you, similar as you to myself, and you can say, look what I've been able to achieve on my own in my journey, and this is something that I can ultimately help you go on your own journey with. You know what I mean? So that's funny how that kind of transition. So from there, you've left the hospital, and what made you, so obviously at that point you said, look, something, it's either now or never.
Yeah.
So that was a point what made you change or reach out?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I came to the hospital and I realised that, it just kind of made, when you're sitting there and you can't do anything, you've got one leg that works, and you're like, this is just not for me. I need to get out and do something with my life. You just realise things, I guess. And that's when I messaged you and I says, look, I've only actually got one working leg, but I just want to start training now. And that's when you had to make that special programme for me.
And do you know what? I've only ever dealt with one person in a boot, but the fact is you came with a boot and it was like, look, and you'd actually ruptured your other one.
I had done that one 2 years before.
So you'd already ruptured the first one, the second rupture. So we adapted it, but I said, look, you've got the years of experience of being at the gym.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not as active as you are now, but let's adapt the program. Let's adapt the training. Let's get you in the best shape of your life. And did you envision what that was going to look like?
I had absolutely no idea because I'd never been it before. I didn't think it was achievable, to be honest. I just thought I just can't. So people can just do it or they can't. This is what I had in my head, and I thought, well, if I'm ever going to do it, it's going to be through Tony. Like, this is the only chance of getting this. So that's why I came to you, and then I went to, I don't know if you remember, I went to Tenerife in April.
Yeah,
with
you
my
had
friends.
a few holidays, yeah.
I've had a few.
That was a stag, no?
No, it's just a boys. I don't know how we
holiday,
managed to get away with that. But so we were away, and I was on that boat trip, and I met that boy. He used to go on stage, and I took a picture of him, and he said to me, I said to him, "Oh, you look amazing. I'd love to just do that one day." He said, "Oh, you look good. You could probably do it now." And then that was the first time that somebody said to me, and I was like, "No, I couldn't go on stage. That's crazy." And then that's when I came back and I said to you, "Do you think I could go on stage?" And you're like, "I'll probably go on stage in 2 weeks if you want." And I said, "No chance. I can go on stage."
Yeah. So the initial idea you came to me, I said, "What do you want to do?" You said, "Just I want to lean down because I felt like you had a good structure, had good frame, good muscle mass, good shape. Let's just lean it all down. Let's see what you look like underneath there. And so we went through that dieting process, that boys' holiday, got you in phenomenal shape. I think you were down to like
7.4 for that holiday. I think.
7, so good low single digits, right? And that was from double. I think you started 15, 16.
I think it was about.
So you have that amount. You went away. You sent me through that picture, and you were looking very, very good in that picture, like very good. And I remember you coming back and saying, "What do you think about me competing?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Yep." I says, "Give me another 4 or 5 weeks, and we'd have you in the best shape of your life." I said, "Look at shows, look at federations, look at categories, look at what you'd aspire to be like." And obviously, you looked up. It was men's athletic.
Yeah.
I think BNBF just followed it. That was going to be the next show in line for about, what was that, August?
August it was, yeah.
August time, and that was a natural show. And from there, it was like, what do you think about the idea of getting in shape for that? And I thought 100%, if we can, in terms of condition, we would get you in the best condition. Size and structure, that was already built. We can't really alter that at that stage. I says, diet a few weeks extra longer, learn how to pose, which, how was that first posing experience?
I had no idea what I was doing.
How hard is posing?
Posing is harder than training, 100% harder than training. Like for me, even now, I'll pose for 20, 30 seconds and I need to take a break.
And it's the fact that there's so much thought that goes into it.
Yeah.
And I think when you're doing reps and sets, it's over in, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Posing is like minutes and minutes of contracting.
Yeah.
And first you actually need to know how to pose and realise that there's an art to that as well. I remember trying to get your back pose and flare your lats and your back's going forward, your back's going back. You're like, I'm like, no, that's like your worst pose. But I look at that first time that you posed and was like, it will get better. And I look how much practice you put into it.
Yeah.
And my God, the amount that it's changed now is night and day. And you wouldn't know that you were so new to this. But let's look at that point. So we looked at now taking your diet one stage further, from getting in shape to going on to now deciding to go on stage. BNBF, men's athletic. Let's talk about that. How was that?
So what, actually going on stage?
So let's talk about, how was the diet? Any different to just your normal diet you'd already done?
It was a lot harder because I think we dropped to 1800 at one point.
Yeah.
Because I think I was sitting about 7%, and I wanted to get closer to 5, didn't I? And it was like,
I said realistically, if you want to, there's a difference between being lean and being stage ready.
Yeah.
And lean was great, and lean's good for marketing, and lean's good for going on holiday, and you probably don't need to suffer or die to get to that point. Yeah. But then from there, it's like, let's do this, but do it a wee bit harder. Yeah, that's hard. And so I said about 4 or 5 is stage condition.
Yeah. And then the first few weeks, it wouldn't bother me too much. I think I had so much motivation to get something because I think my mind was still blown at the fact that I could actually go on stage. Because I thought I was like, there's no way I'm that, like this is only 6 months after I was in hospital.
Yeah.
I was like, how can I be going on stage 6 months later? So I think the motivation and that adrenaline just got me through, and then it got to a point. I remember I came into you and said, I'm struggling now. I can't do this anymore. I need more food.
And I said to you, the moment that you know the diet is working is when you get to that point of I'm everyday life is a struggle.
Yeah.
Training's a struggle. Going to work is a struggle. Day-to-day life is a struggle. And at that point, that's when you know that you're pushing your body to a place that it's never been before.
Yeah.
And that's hard. And that takes discipline. A lot of discipline. And so you done the work. I had a look at you condition-wise. I felt like I didn't want to necessarily give you over amount of confidence, but I had confidence in the package that I was seeing, that if I was to put that on stage, it would do well, 100%. Did I have confidence that would win shows? 100%. I felt like the way you looked, I've prepped a lot of people for shows, and in terms of the condition, I don't think we could have done much more in terms of condition. I mean, once you get to that echelon, so level of body fat, there's not that, I mean, the difference between 0.5% here or there, okay, but in terms of that sub 5, you're lean enough, you're ready. You can see the detail, you can see the condition, and you condition-wise, you were there. Structure-wise, your structure was as good as it was going to be with all the years of training you had. So size and structure, symmetry, posing was good. I was pretty confident. You step on stage, nobody's going to know you're new. You're not going to be out your depth. I was pretty confident you were going to do well. And how did that go?
So there was 5 of us in the category, and I came first. I won.
You won, and how was that?
Honestly, I was sitting there. At one point, I thought I was going to start crying because I just couldn't believe. Like, it was August, so that was literally 7 months after I came to the hospital, and I was sitting with a championship trophy of bodybuilding. I just couldn't believe what was happening. To be honest, it's still surreal just now thinking about it. The trophies in my room in the house, it's mental. Like, what's happened over the last 9-10 months.
And so from there, obviously, that was. I think when I spoke to you, you said, "I'm just happy to be able to do this." There wasn't an expectation on placing.
Yeah.
There wasn't any. There was just, I can't believe I'm stepping on stage competing.
Yeah.
That was it. First time ever. Complete new experience. I'm just excited to see what happens. And so I remember messaging you, and you're like, "I won." Like I literally, I can't believe it. I've won. And from there, you got an invite to British.
Yeah.
And so, how long did we have to diet from?
It was 4 weeks between the shows.
So another 4 weeks from the show, you've just won into British finals, and you wanted to dial in. So what was the feedback from the judges, first of all?
The feedback from the judges was essentially I had the best condition of everybody on stage. So that condition in that category is paramount. That's the most important thing. So that's what won me.
Cool.
On the day.
And so from there, you wanted to push things further.
Yeah.
And you said, "I want more detail, I want more condition." And I think we did scrimp another 0.5% off in that 4 weeks, and we did get you that much leaner going into the show. I felt like we could have brought a bigger, fuller package as well as that same condition. We changed our approach, and so you were that much more conditioned in the first show. And I think you said that you went on holiday after that first show.
Yes, Turkey.
No. France, no?
Paris, that's right. I went to Paris. I've been away a few times this year.
That's what I'm saying. You've been away 4 or 5 times, Jesus.
I know.
It's hard to keep up, but you went away to Paris, and you said that after that full day after the show and being away in Paris, that was the best you'd ever looked.
Yeah,
that's your
right.
feedback.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
I said, do you feel like if we brought that package to the stage that would be even better than what we've done? You said yes. So we changed our approach. We got you leaner, but this time we filled you out more.
Mm-hmm.
And you went down British finals, and how did that go?
So it was 4 of us in the final, and I came second this time to the guy that I beat in Manchester. Okay. And the feedback from that was he had better condition, but I was clearly fuller and bigger than him. So I think I've just misinterpreted what they see as better. I thought bigger would be better, I guess, but with similar condition, but they just didn't care about the size at all. By the looks of it, they just cared about who was more drawn in, who was drier. Okay.
And so we go from the high of getting in shape, going on holiday. That was amazing. Taking it one step further, stepping on stage, being on a high, going to British finals, coming second. How was that feeling?
That was horrible. I'm not going to lie. I'm still struggling with it. I think it makes it worse because it's the boy that I beat already, and I still believe that my conditions maybe not better, but I think the overall package is better. I think I'm just fuller, but I don't know. It's just
because I spoke to you after it, and Adib, you're probably the only competitive athlete I've ever dealt with in my life where I'm usually on the phone like every day and how's things going and what's going on, and it's just you go radio silent, your phone dies, and I don't know if you give it to your wife and then that's it, and you're just backstage just focusing on, I need to pump up, I need to go on stage, I need to do this. But it always works out well, so I thought maybe that's just the way it goes. But I spoke to you after that show, and yeah, you'd said I was disappointed. I thought I should have won, which everyone always kind of thinks I should have won. Yeah. Maybe it's warranted, maybe it's not. But what I try and always put into perspective is that when it comes to a regional show, you're not necessarily going to be going against the best of the best. You'll go against the best of what that region has to offer. Sometimes people travel for shows, like you travelled for that show, but 9 out of 10 times you go with kind of the best of that area, not necessarily the best of the best. When you go to the British final, you're going against the winners of all the regionals. So you're kind of now going against the best of the best, not just somebody that kind of looks good. You're going to somebody that's won their show. So you're going against all the winners. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you need to put that in perspective, that you're going against a higher caliber. Now, you came second to the guy that you beat originally, so a couple of tweaking here or there, which we'll now do. We'll now get an invite to the European finals, which is another 4 weeks from that show.
Yeah.
Or it was 5 weeks.
5 weeks from the show. Yeah.
From that show. And you also get an invite to the Worlds, which is in Sydney, Australia. So, bit of a crazy journey.
It's great.
A bit of a whirlwind journey from hospital, don't know, just feeling sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
And thinking, do you know what? Something's got to change. I feel like I want to change, to getting in shape, to doing your first show, to winning your first show, to feeling from a high, being on a low, coming second, which, trust me, I know a lot of people that would come second in a British final and be overly ecstatic, to being down in the dumps, to now let's go round 3. You know what I mean? And potentially round 4 as well. That's crazy. That's a lot to take on board. And everything is a learning curve, and it's tweaking what you've done in the past and replicating that and making it slightly better. And obviously it's a learning curve for your interpretation to what do they want.
Yeah.
And how can you be better from your best? And we'll tweak the plan, and you'll have better or similar condition to what won you the first time, and still have more size than the first time, but maybe not as full as the second time.
Yeah.
And that is how you win shows, you evolve, you adapt, you take the feedback, you move on. And so from there, how have things changed now is that you've now also took that decision from living here to now moving.
Yes. So whilst all this has been happening, I've actually been doing my level 3 personal training qualification.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that in the background as well, and still doing my engineering job. So I'm just about to finish my level 3 actually. I'm doing my practical this weekend, and that'll be it finished, so I'm fully qualified. But in the process of that, we were thinking about, we've always thought about maybe moving away for a while, my wife and I. So I just thought, we both love Dubai. We went there last year.
Yeah.
Love it out there. So we thought, why not? Like, we're doing everything else this year, so just why not? Like, everything else is happening. Might as well just throw something else into the ball. So I applied for a job at Ultimate Performance.
Yeah.
Out in Dubai, and it's quite a long process. There's like 4 parts to the recruitment process, and the third part is a recruitment day out in Dubai. So I went out. They invited me out to Dubai, and then I went to do that. That was just after Manchester.
Yeah. Yeah, so you'd won your show.
I won my show. I went out and I did it was a recruitment day, so there was a practical assessment. They watched me training someone, and then they sat me down and had a little interview, and then a week later they came back and they offered me a job. So like, I've now got an offer for a job in Dubai. Like, I've won a British like regionals bodybuilding competition.
Yeah.
I'm now due to be a qualified personal trainer.
Yeah.
But I'm also building up my online social media, my coaching platform. I've just started that.
Yeah.
That's just at 100 followers yesterday. And it's only 10 months ago. I keep saying it. Only 10 months ago, I was sitting in a hospital with one leg.
So how someone's life can change in the blink of an eye.
I know.
And so it's always a kind of like breath of fresh air to listen to. A lot of people can sit in the sidelines, and a lot of people can moan about having a rubbish job, not hating a Monday, loving a Friday, can't wait for the weekend, not getting paid what they feel they're worth, and looking at somebody that does do something what they enjoy and think, I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
I'd love to step on stage. I'd love to be a PT. I'd love to be a coach. I'd love to be something. And yet, for a lot of people, there's a lot of people out there that like job security. They like knowing that at the end of every month, there's a salary. Whether you do more work or less work, there's a salary. Whether you do more effort, less effort, there's a salary. And maybe it's not what you want, but it's security.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, they're not willing to take the plunge. to maybe say, well, what if I try this and it might not work? What if I try this and it does work? And so I always say is it takes a certain type of person to take that risk. And I always feel as though for me, what stood me good in business was that discipline, that discipline that I had to do bodybuilding shows. How disciplined you need to be with your diet, with your training, how structured you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
That whole kind of philosophy and organization, you apply that mindset to any other aspect of your life and it 100% succeeds. Having a plan, having a time scale, having targets and goals and metrics of success and doing everything methodically and having a tactic there, is that if you can apply that to a lot of different areas of your life, even the scariest things can be not that scary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you've took that plunge from I want to get in shape to winning a show to migrating abroad to having your online coaching business, to all of these things from that moment of just what if?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What if? And so what made you like go through all that?
I think that you mentioned like job security and stuff, and I think that's big. That was for me as well, why I spent so long in engineering. It is a good job, it's just not, I don't have a passion for it. I don't wake up, I think it was just your standard. It's just you do it because it's what your job is and you get paid and it's security. And I think that's just, I got to a point where it just wasn't enough. Like, it wasn't fulfilling something inside me that I needed fulfilled. So I think there was always a thought in my mind for years that I'd love to be a PT, because I've been training since 2008-7, and it was growing. So the security of the job was probably what stopped me from doing it. And then, as I was saying to you, when I started looking at the fact that I could probably potentially do an online thing in the background while I'm still doing engineering, and that could help me transition financially, I think that was where I think I got the courage to say that I can actually probably try and make this work. And there's no time limit on it. I can just let the online stuff build until it's big enough for me to move. I'm not going to put a time limit. I don't want to put any pressure on it. And that's kind of what I thought at the start of the year. Says if I'm not going to start this now, then it's not going to happen. Yeah. So I thought I might as well. And then that's obviously when I seen that you did the PT Academy, I says, well, if I'm going to do it, then I should just get some kind of support, the best support I can, to make the chances of success as high as possible. Yeah. So that's when I initially reached out to you. It was about me being a PT, about me being a coach. And then you said, well, what about your condition? I'm like, yeah, even at that point, I still didn't believe I could get in condition. I just felt like it wasn't for me. Yeah. And then 6 months later, I think I just proved to myself that the passion is there, that I can do it.
You can take yourself to that next level.
Yeah. And I think anybody that's been in my position where I just don't think I can get that, like, you can absolutely 100% do it. It just takes a bit of accountability, I think, and a bit of discipline for a while, and anybody can do it, I believe.
Yeah, it's a mindset. And I think that we say to most people, I believe as a PT or a coach, is you need to have walked the walk. You need to have not just talked the talk, and you need to be in shape yourself. You need to be living and breathing this lifestyle to preach to others as to what you've been able to do for yourself. Is it sustainable? Is it a lifestyle? Is it just a short-term fad? Did you get in shape once and then have never been in shape ever again? Like, I feel like the PT should be the person, you're the billboard of your business, and you should be living and breathing what you preach to others. And so if you've never been in shape before, how can you ultimately promise your clientele that, well, I can do it with you because I've studied it?
Yeah.
I've never done it myself.
Yeah.
I just don't see that disconnect. And whenever I hear a PT that says, well, I could do it if I wanted to, and I'm like, but do you not want to?
Yeah. It's your career, like, why are you not doing it?
Do you not want to feel better about yourself? Because you're obviously telling your clients that if you diet and train, you'll look better, you'll feel better, but do you not want that for yourself? Because ultimately we all want to look and feel better, and that's going to have a positive impact in our relationship or life or work or whatever it is. So we always say is you want to practice what you preach, and that's why you've now done a show. You've now took yourself to that elite level condition. So technically, if we had clients that wanted to go on stage, you could take them through that process because you've been through that process. Just like somebody that's lost 2 or 3 stone could take another client through a weight loss process. But if you've never stepped in the shoes that your client's going to go in, I just feel like how you can do all the study in the world. There's half of this is going to be knowledge, and the other half of this is going to be experience. And I think that a good blend of both of these makes you a really good coach, a really good trainer to a lot of people, is that not having the not just the experience, but not really knowing the knowledge, but kind of just knowing that what you've done has worked. So if it's worked for me, it'll work for everybody. I know a lot of PTs that have that mindset where whatever worked for them, it's the same approach to use for every other person, which doesn't necessarily work. Or having all the knowledge, but never actually have you applied that with a client? Have you applied what it says in the literature or studies or research? Does that apply to a real life person? Because dealing with real life people is different. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like if it fits your macros, sounds brilliant. You could eat anything and everything, and as long as you hit your calories and your macros and everything's perfect. But there's human emotions involved, and somebody could technically get a lot of their calories from foods that some people might classify as junk food, and maybe because they're eating those foods and they're hungry all the time, they can't stick to the diet, or a little bit makes them want more. A little sugar, is that all I'm getting? I can't just have this one wee bit of chocolate. Like one bit leads them to the bar, and the bar leads them to this, and there's a lot of psychology, and that's why we always say is that what sounds good in paper, it can work for a certain type of person. Like I feel like a lot of bodybuilding, a lot of people that are OCD and very strict, doing a calorie and macro specific diet, they can do it because there's an end outcome. Yeah. And they're disciplined enough to stick to something to do it. But does that work with Gen Pop? And so there's all these different blends that we're trying to work out with people. But it's good the fact that you've been able to do it yourself is you can take that knowledge and you can take that experience and you can apply it to that audience now. You know what I mean? To kind of say, well, I've took it from one extreme and you might not want to, but at least I know how.
Yeah.
And if you can take yourself from that extreme to stepping on stage, you can take somebody to lose 2 or 3 stone, or you could take somebody to a photo shoot, or you could take somebody just to get in shape for the lads' holiday or whatever it is. And so it's been really good to kind of see how we have so many people in the Body Academy that the goal was never to become a PT, the goal was never to become a coach, the goal was never to step on stage, but it happened because of the journey.
Yeah.
And like you said, that belief system, you might not believe it's possible because you've never been there, and a lot of people can't believe in something they've never seen or they've never experienced. But for me, if I've been doing this for 20 years and I've helped thousands of people step on stage, I've helped hundreds of PTs build a business, then for me, it's just another process. It's just another person through the journey. It's not anything new. So for me, I have as much belief in myself to do this with anybody that comes on board. So if you've not got the belief, then that's where having that coach or having that accountability and having that education or having that person in your corner is you don't need to know all the answers. You don't need to have all the belief in yourself. You just need to have the want and the desire and get that help, reassurance and guidance to take that wee bit of belief and kind of cultivate that and grow it from that little seed into this, maybe not British champion and world champion, but in your case, maybe
Yeah.
And grow that from something into something big and building a career off it, which is absolutely phenomenal. So from what I would like to see is like, from imagining somebody sitting on the sideline listening to this and feeling like, you know what, I'd love to step on stage. You know what, I'd love to, I don't know, become a PT, but I don't know, like you've been in their shoes. What would you say to that person?
Probably a bit of a cliche, but I would just be saying to them essentially, just do it. Just do it. Like, how do you explain it? It's like everybody sits there thinking, I wish I could do that, but they don't do it. It's like you can do it.
Is that fear?
Yeah, it could be a fear. It could be that
fear of failure.
Potentially, yeah, I guess potentially fear. But that's where the accountability I think comes in, where you don't need to know the answer to things, and you don't need to be. You don't need to be a success the first time you do it, or you're just learning at the end of the day. My kind of motto that I have is I never lose. I'll either win or I'll learn.
Yeah,
and that's the way that I apply with everything. Other than that final, that felt like a loss, but I'm trying to learn from it as well. But that's the way that I've been trying this year to look at things. There is really nothing There isn't anything as a lot. That loss isn't a real thing to me because there's always something to gain from it, whether you win or lose. So if you're what I would say to somebody if they're sitting there thinking, I wish I could do it, it would just be, if there's nothing stopping you, then just get like what is it to lose? Just get up and just try. Like you just never know, and that's all I done. You just never know. Like in January, all I wanted to do was be a PT and get in shape, and I thought, yeah, that's fine. Like I would look at other guys at the gym, other PTs at the gym that they weren't in like fantastic shape. They were fine, and I thought, yeah, that's cool. But now it's 6 months later. I'm like, no, I want to be a world champion. I want to be the best in the world.
Yeah,
and that's my mentality shift over half a year, and it's all it took is me to just take that dive with you, and get a bit of accountability and support, and build my knowledge. And now I've built the experience as well. And I've got that belief now in myself that I can take somebody through the process that I've just went through.
Yeah.
Whether they want to go out on stage or just partly to be good for a holiday or whatever it is, I feel like I could do that because I've got the knowledge and the experience.
Yeah. And that confidence within yourself comes from you being there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that you nailed it in the head. I think for a lot of people, they think that they need to do this journey on their own.
Yeah.
And that's the fear. It's like, well, if I don't know all the answers, what happens if, like I hear it all the time from PTs, I don't know, like maybe I'll charge more when I know enough. And I'm like, okay, when are you going to know enough? Like, are you studying more? Are you gaining more qualifications? Or like, what are you doing to be better? Because if you're not doing anything to be better, then when does that point come? And so we always say, you don't need to do this alone.
Yeah.
Like ask for help, get accountability, get educated. You know what I mean? Because the lack of confidence probably comes from the lack of experience, probably comes from the lack of knowledge. Like all of this stuff is stuff that you need to gain in order to be more confident in yourself. And if you've got the knowledge and the experience and the confidence, live it, do it.
Yeah.
Does it work? And in your case, it does. And so for me, what else more is there to prove to people is that when you're brand new to the industry, when you're brand new to all of this, is you showcase that you can do it from coming from an injury, from both Achilles been torn, to okay, you've been going to the gym your whole life, but you've never been in amazing shape. So how do you take that to world class? That's huge. You know what I mean? And so that's where now we want a lot of people to be listening that, look, you might not have the knowledge, you might not have the experience, you might not have all the confidence, but that's where reaching out and having somebody by your side to take you through that journey.
Yeah.
Because like you said, like it's not failing. At the end of the day, you've got to learn and you've got to go through the process and you're learning from your experience and you're living through your path and where ultimately your customers are going to be. Is you can say, well, I've been through that. I know what it feels like to be hungry. I know what it feels like to be starving, to be dying. But I know that it's worth it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know that it'll all play out. And so your life has changed in a matter of what, 6 months, 9 months?
Yeah. January to August was when I won the show. So what was that? 7 months?
Aye. 7 months. Yeah. Your life has changed. And so it's not years.
No.
And so the motion of how your life can do a 360 and not years and ultimately weeks and months is incredible. So what would you like to obviously say to people out there? Any thoughts for yourself?
In terms of...
Obviously, you've been through an incredible journey. You've achieved probably a lot more than what a lot of people out there, because I would say there's a lot of people that probably wanted to compete and they'll never compete. There's probably a lot of people that would want to change career, they probably would never change career. You've not only just done that and say, well, I've done it, but you've done it and you've done it well. So you've been able to see from the idea of change to the highs of the highs. You know what I mean? That most people probably won't even get to that point of stepping on a British Championship stage, but never alone coming second in that, and then obviously going to the Europeans or the world. Some people will spend their whole life chasing that and never achieve it, and you've done that so quickly. So you've got a lot to share on, from nothing to everything. And so, like, in your side of it, is there anything you can think of from your perspective that, as much as what you've done has just been, it was never planned. It was never planned that that's what was going to happen. But from the journey and the highs and the lows and all the stuff, and it was worth, and what you've been through, is there anything you would say to somebody out there that's, I don't know, they're kind of listening to this, they're kind of thinking of ideas, and maybe there's hopes and there's desires and there's things they want to do, but I don't know where to start. Like, from your perspective of being through that journey now, like, what would be things that you'd say to them?
The first thing I would probably say is to reach out. If there's a lot of unknown in terms of they don't know what to do or where to go, I think reaching out, reaching out to somebody that's got, which is what I done. That was the first thing I done. Reach out. As long as you've got the passion for it and you've got the desire to make it happen, honestly, I think anybody. In my head, I feel like anybody can do it.
Yeah.
If I can do it, anybody can. That's how I feel. If I can do it, then definitely anybody can do it.
Yeah.
The first 6 months didn't even seem that hard to me. Like, I was so desperate to, like, this is what's happening now. So my head was in it. And it didn't really get hard for me until we'd really dropped the calories and I was really trying to get below 5%. That's when things started to get hard. But just trying to get in condition, like beach body condition, I enjoyed the process, to be honest. Just kind of doing what I was told, eating what I was told, training the way I was told, kind of thing. And I just enjoyed learning. I was just enjoying the experience. And then, I don't know, it just blew up.
So do you feel like you've always had that mindset?
Yeah, I've always, for years, I've had the mindset of, like, that passion of training, and I've always had an eye on what I eat and stuff. I've just never been really strict with it. I'm always trying to make sure I've got a good bit of protein in every meal, and I'm not
the basics,
all the kind of basic stuff, but I'm not counting calories or anything like that. So I've always had that base, but I think that at the start of this year, I thought I just need to take this to the next level now.
And what made you dig through those deeper times? Was there ever a moment you ever thought, I can't do this?
I can't do what I'm doing now, or no. It's this whole year. It's just been this is what I've always wanted. But this year I've decided I'm going to go and get it. But it's what I've always wanted. I've just not had the courage to do it, I think. And then when I done my leg in at the start of the year, and I couldn't train for another 3 months. And I think Hyrox was actually coming up, and I was thinking about doing that. That was in February, and I couldn't do that anymore. And I was like, I'd stopped playing football now. I'm not playing any more football. I'm just going to stick to training, and I'm going to put everything into training.
Just work on you.
Yeah. And that's when I reached out to you. I didn't even need to research other trainers. I just went, right, I'm just going to go and see Tony, because that's the only one that I'd followed, and that's the only one I want to go and see.
Yeah.
Like, money wasn't even a thing. I just said, I'm just going to see Tony, and that's it.
And make it happen. And this journey it's not at the end yet. It feels like, for me, it's just starting.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just beginning. I feel like you've got a whole life of you ahead of you that's going to be super exciting.
I know, and I wish, as I said to you before, I just wish I'd done this. Can you imagine that we actually did that first session of Fitness First that we were supposed to do? Can you imagine that I actually went ahead, where I'd be now, about 14 years later, if we'd actually went and done it then, what I could be doing now? So that's what I mean. Like, that's what I thought. If I don't do it now, like, it's just not going to happen. So yeah, that's what I would say. I just wish I'd done it 10 years ago. But
it's all in hindsight.
Yeah,
it's all in hindsight. And out of that rarity, I mean, I've dealt with thousands of clients now. I would say there's only a handful of clients that I've ever worked with that have ever done that to that extent of how far you've went in such a short period of time, where we've had clients that have went to British finals, we've had clients that have went to European finals, we even had clients that went to world finals. And do you know what? There's been very few and far between that do it so quick.
Yeah.
Like, their first season, their first show, it's like we had a guy that won the Scottish show, second in the British show, second in the world. You know what I mean? We had a girl that literally first 6 shows, won every single show. Went to Europeans, second in British, got invited to Worlds, COVID hit, all that stuff. So it's a rarity that it happens to that level. But there's always that possibility that you take somebody and you nourish it and you mold it and you evolve it into the best version of you, and what will be. I says, don't plan. Yes, we all want to win. I feel like sometimes people can get caught up on, if you don't win, it's a failure, or it wasn't even worth it, or why did I even go through the diet in the first place? Now, because you learned a lot about yourself. Yeah. You learned a lot about you pushed yourself mentally and physically to what you could and couldn't do, and you learn from that and you grow and you evolve. You know what I mean? So it's been super exciting, Adiba. I'm excited to see where the future, what the future holds and where things go. And well, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I'm excited as well, to be honest. I say my engineering job is just, like you said, it's just a secure job that gives you a monthly salary and you just do day to day. So if you'd asked me that a year ago, I would tell you where I'd be in 5 years. Now I don't know, and that's kind of exciting. I know where I want to be. I want to have a successful online coaching business, and I want to be a successful PT, whether that's in Dubai or whether it's back here, I don't know. I just want to keep building that, and I think I want to keep doing the bodybuilding stuff as well. That was always just a side thing. The PTing and the coaching was always the main thing.
Yep.
But the bodybuilding stuff's, I don't want to let that go either now. I want to try and maintain my condition for that as well. So I've no idea what comes next, to be honest. I'm just going to keep going in the direction I'm going.
And I heard a quote from somebody that made me think, and you've talked about it a few times now. So just to finish up on that. So I always say to people, find a passion.
Yeah.
And make it a career. And you've said that as well.
Yeah.
You said, if you've got the passion for it, take the passion and turn it into something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I heard somebody say on, was it a podcast or a YouTube, they says, that's the worst advice I've ever heard. And I was like, really? That was pretty good advice. That's how I've lived my life off of, like, find a passion, make a career. And he said, because people can be passionate about something and be really bad at it. So let's say you were passionate about training, but you were never good enough to step on stage, or you were never going to be at that level, but you were passionate about it. Would you have took that to then become a PT or a coach? And so he said, what's better than having a passion for it is turn something that you're naturally very good at and make it a career. And I was like, it's a very different take. And I asked myself, I says, did I become a very good coach or PT because I was passionate about it? Or did I become very good at it because I was good at it? Or did the passion make me want to learn more to become good at it? Because I'm good at it, I grew a thriving business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's something I always ponder on, and kind of have the same attitude as yourself, is take that passion and turn it into a career. And then I'm always now of that mindset as to, if you had that passion, but you never had taken it to that level, would the jump to become a PT have been the same?
I mean, the passion's definitely always been there. And I think the jump to a PT probably wouldn't have been able to do it without you, I think.
Okay.
I think reaching out to you was, I don't think I'd had the courage to do it without having something or somebody. Not even just the level 3 is enough. The getting the qualification is not enough, I don't think.
Well, the statistic of PTs is most PTs that qualify within 2 years are out of the industry.
Yeah. The level 3, in my opinion, having just finished it, it's not enough.
Very basic.
Yeah. There's not enough there. I've done a lot of studying out with that now. Obviously I'm learning a lot from you, and then through the bodybuilding. Most of my knowledge now is not included in the level 3. It's beyond the level 3 now. So, yeah, but that comes with passion. If you've got enough passion, you'll go away and you'll do your own research. You'll do the learning, and you'll
become better.
I firmly believe if you have enough passion, you can become good at it. I don't think it's you're either good at it or you're not. You can become good at it if you want it enough. That's 100% what I believe.
Cool. So, guys, that's probably a great point to finish on. Yeah, it was interesting, but no, that's a great point to finish on. And so, guys, if you want to go follow Adeeb, where can people find you, Adeeb?
So my Instagram is the P3 Fitness Coach. I've just built that. That's the online coaching one. So that's kind of my main social media. I don't really have any other ones
as of yet.
as of yet. I have a TikTok, but to be honest, my wife handles that. I've got no idea how to use TikTok.
So guys, go check out Adeeb on Instagram. And yeah, whether you are a PT, whether you are not a PT, you like the idea of becoming a PT, or maybe you're somebody who just wants to get in the best shape possible, guys, make sure that you reach out and ask for help. That's the biggest thing I think me and Adeeb can both say, is reach out for help. Somebody with a little more experience can help really cultivate that passion that you do have and translate it into something special that can make you feel like all the time and effort that you put into something worth the while. And just having somebody by your side to reassure you, to educate you, to build up your confidence, to build on that momentum can be an absolute game changer. And make sure to subscribe and like and share this to somebody that ultimately you feel needs to hear it. And look forward to catching up with you on the next series.